Let me bring in Sung-Yoon Lee. He's a professor in Korean studies at the Fletcher School at Tufts University. He joins us from Massachusetts. Professor, we've really been talking about how the Russians are watching this, how the U.S. is watching it. But another country that will be watching this summit is China. How instrumental was Beijing in bringing us where we are today?
China is North Korea's sole treaty ally, vice versa. North Korea is China's sole treaty ally. So it was almost preordained that Kim Jong-un, the anti-social socialist leader, would one day pop up in Beijing as he did in late March. Kim is merely stealing a few pages out of his daddy's playbook from the early 2000s. In the year 2000, in late May, Kim Jong-il made his first trip to China. Just a fortnight before his upcoming summit meeting with the South Korean president, he pocketed $500 million, then turned to softening up the Clinton administration, sent a special envoy, invited President Clinton to visit Pyongyang. The next year, Kim met with Vladimir Putin and then received the Japanese leader in 2002 in Pyongyang. So by merely changing his tune from a very bellicose martial one to a softer ballad-like melody, Kim Jong-un has, in making no concessions whatsoever, has been able to line up the leaders of the biggest powers in the world for a series of summit meetings, and the intent is obviously to be accepted, acknowledged as a legitimate leader presiding over a not-so-abnormal nuclear nation, and also to buy time and money.
So why am I getting the sense you're not really optimistic about the inter-Korean summit, and it seems to me you're rather skeptical?
Because there are precedents. History is a guide, no guarantor of accurate assessment with respect to current affairs. But in previous two summit meetings, there was a lot of goodwill, bonhomie, overflowing, stirring, moving pronouncements on inter-Korean rapprochement and solidarity, denuclearization, permanent peace regime, and all those good things. And yet North Korea continued to march down the nuclear path.
But Professor Lee, just a few months ago, the world seemed to be on the brink of war. Now these two countries, technically still at war, are talking peace. Surely that is progress. That is a step in the right direction.
Jaw is better than war, as Churchill said. Certainly, it's better than war, but I don't think we came anywhere close to the brink of war. The truth is, at no point since the end of the Korean War 65 years ago has the United States or South Korea responded to the North, its lethal provocations, killings of Americans and South Koreans, with a military response. And that's been the prudent, pragmatic approach, extraordinary self-restraint, which has kept the peace in the peninsula. I think North Korea knows that and knows exactly how to dangle the carrot as well as wield the stick. Many people have this notion of North Korea as half crazy, very backward and so forth, but that kind of patronization of Pyongyang has really not worked out in the best interest of the neighbors.
So do you think we will get anything of substance coming out of the inter-Korean summit?
Yes, for North Korea. You know, North Korea seeks to buy time and money with which to perfect its own nuclear posture review. One would not really think that it would be possible to get any of the other 8 nuclear weapons possessing states to give it up through conventional diplomacy. But when it comes to North Korea, we still harbor that illusion. A country that spent more than half a century assiduously developing these capabilities does not all of a sudden have a change of heart and change course. North Korea is duping the world, and Trump and the South Koreans and others are just falling right into that trap.
All right, we'll leave it there. Professor Sung-Yoon Lee, certainly with one perspective on historic talks that will happen in a few hours between the two Koreas.